forward that would require them to have a 70... Mr Chairman.
I call the honourable member Cam Calder.
I move the question be now put.
Very good.
No, I don't think so. I'm going to call the Honourable Leanne Dalzell.
Very much, Mr Chairman. I've been looking forward to having my contribution on this important debate because I haven't had the opportunity to do so thus far, but I'm pleased that I can on this because I have an amendment to Clause 1 of this bill. Now, the government also has a motion to divide the bill into two bills that are being dealt with here, and the first particular amendment actually is correct, because and that's changing the Part 1 of the bill to this Act is the State-Owned Enterprises Amendment Act 2012. And that is correct, because what it does is it takes 4 state-owned enterprises out of the State-Owned Enterprises Act and moves them to the Public Finance Act. Only the Public Finance Act that it's moving to is the Act that is now going to be called, under this particular provision, the Public Finance Mixed Ownership Model Amendment Act 2012. And I think that there is a very serious reason about why that particular language is incorrect, because I believe that it's covering up for what the public know, and this is the privatisation of public property. That's what it is. It is nothing more, nothing less than that, and I believe that by using this language of the mixed ownership model, the MOM, you know, they're talking about the ownership of these going to ma and pa investors or mom and pop investors. Well, I'm suggesting that we change the name from MOM to POP. Privatisation of public property. That's exactly what's going on here. Now, my colleague, Jacinda Ardern, actually had this amendment in a number of other parts in this bill, but actually it wasn't included in this part of the bill because she'd actually become I think, quite disquieted by the fact that the government had used in fact, Jacinda Ardern's right here, and she's offering her contribution to the debate from her chair, and she's saying that she was disillusioned by the government's response to her very sensible amendment. And the reason that she's disillusioned is because she felt that they weren't being completely upfront with the language of this mixed ownership model, which really hid the essence of what was going on. And so she gave up when it came to the Clause 1, the title of the Act. But I've decided that it is actually worthy debating in here, because the public have a right to know that their wishes are not being respected by this government, that they are trying to hide the reality of what they're doing behind language, the language of mixed ownership model, when in fact the very act of this legislation removing 4 state-owned enterprises from the coverage of the State-Owned Enterprises Act shows that this is the privatisation of public property. It's the pop of the mom and pop legislation that we have been considering in this House over the last few days. Now, the other amendments that colleagues have moved, and I noticed that Dr David Clark, my colleague, has also moved an alternative title, which is the State Asset Privatisation Act, or SAP. And I think that's what the government thinks the general public are, a bunch of saps. They're not taking them seriously. They know that there is a referendum out there, a citizens-initiated referendum, with Grey Power and the CTU joining hand in hand, walking, marching up and down this country, gathering the signatures. Those signatures are gathering, and that is why this House is debating that bill a long time before the Select Committee was even due to report back. That's the truth of it, and the reason that the government doesn't want this bill sitting on the order paper any longer than it is because they don't want the public to have spoken their mind. They don't want to be forced into a referendum situation and to be voting for this legislation in the face of public opinion. But I can tell this House that the people will not forget that the government proceeded with this legislation before they had a chance to speak. and the other amendments that this side of the House is moving actually addresses that opportunity for the public to truly have a say. And the one that I really like is the one in the name of my colleague, the Honourable David Parker, and he says that we should change the date of enforcement, of the coming into force of this Act, until the 1st of April 2016. And what is relevant about that date, apart from the fact that it is the April Fool's Day in 2016, the reason is that it would give an incoming government the chance to actually listen to the people and to make the changes. Mr Chairman, Mr Chairman, Mr Chairman, Mr Chairman.
I call the honourable member Todd McLeay.
I move that the question be now put.
Very narrow.
No, it's declined. I'm calling the honourable